As of March 1st, 2026, every immigration fee at AIMA went up by 25%, with some increases reaching 33%. If you have a renewal, a pending application, or any active process right now, whatever you budgeted is already wrong. That's the headline. But the fee increase isn't the only thing that changed. In March, the people responsible for translating between the Portuguese state and foreign applicants went on strike. And the reason they went on strike tells you something important about how long AIMA delays could continue into the summer. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what the new fees mean for your budget, what the strike signals for the months ahead, and one digital issue that is quietly canceling residencies right now because people don't know it exists. I've been inside this system for over 5 years, through CEF, through AIMA, through every fee change in between. I talk to lawyers and mediators directly, not press releases. April has a lot of moving parts. Let's go through them properly. Cultural mediators are the front line of new AIMA. Without them, biometric appointments stall, document submissions pile up, and the queue stops moving. If you had an appointment in AIMA that coincided with strike days, your process didn't just get delayed, it entered a limbo that the system has no fast mechanism to clear. They went on strike for one reason. Many of them still work under precarious contracts through NGOs and partner associations, rather than as permanent AIMA staff. They want integration. The government hasn't delivered it. That matters beyond March because this isn't resolved. As long as AIMA and the government don't reach an agreement, the risk of further stoppages in May and June is very high. The system is working on crutches, and one of those crutches just went on strike. If your renewal is due before July, assume the timeline is longer than AIMA official estimates. Build in the buffer now, before you need it. This is the first fee increase since AIMA was created in October 2023, and it landed without much warning, which means a lot of people are about to pay the wrong amount. If you have an old DUC sitting in your email that you haven't paid yet, that amount is now wrong. Paying the old figure won't just delay your process. AIMA can reject it for insufficient payment, which means starting the queue from scratch. The number you've heard is 25%. That's the average. Some increases went higher, up to 33%, particularly on the procedures people use most: initial residence permit applications and renewals. A residency renewal that cost €59.40 now costs €79.10. A work visa extension that was €53.30 is now €66.60. If you are renewing for a family of 4, that's roughly €80 extra you weren't expecting, just on the renewal fee alone, before lawyers, translations, or anything else. CPLP citizens, Brazilians included, still pay reduced rates, but the 25% increase was applied to them too. AIMA's official position is that this is not an extraordinary increase. They've described it as a technical and mandatory update based on existing legislation. You can agree or disagree with that framing, but it doesn't change what you owe. Before you pay anything, generate a new DUC and verify the amount against the updated fee table on aima.gov.pt. That one check could save you months. One more thing on budget. If you haven't sorted health and travel insurance yet, visa applications and residency renewals often require proof of coverage. Don't leave it until the last minute. I've linked the option I recommend in the description. It covers Portugal and works in 180+ countries. If you are actively looking for a long-term rental right now, your search just got harder, and Easter is the reason. With holidays falling across March and April this year, landlords in tourist-heavy areas pulled properties from the long-term market and moved them into short-term rentals. Lisbon and Faro saw a 5% drop in long-term rental supply in March alone. In a market that was already tight, that means fewer options, higher competition, and landlords who know they can hold out for a better offer. If you are already renting and considering a move within Portugal this spring, the window between Easter and summer is historically the worst time to be searching. Supply, contracts, prices don't. Wait until June if you can. There's a second issue in the rental market worth flagging separately. The Portuguese government has significantly increased enforcement against unregistered rental agreements in 2026, and it's now technology-driven. Finanças can cross-reference data in ways they couldn't 2 years ago. If you moved in recently and accepted an off-the-books arrangement to save money, an unregistered contract that saved you €50 a month is not worth the fine that could follow. Before you file anything this month, check one thing: your NIF status. If it still shows as non-resident and you spent more than 183 days in Portugal in 2025, you are a tax resident and you will be taxed at a flat rate of 25% on your global income without the right to any deductions. That single administrative detail can cost you thousands. The mistake that catches most foreigners is not the filing itself. It's what they forget to declare. Foreign bank accounts, rental income from properties back home, investment returns, pension payments. In 2026, information exchange between global tax authorities and finances is close to instantaneous. If it exists and you didn't declare it, they likely already know. April is the official IRS filing month in Portugal. If you were here for more than 183 days last year, you are required to file. And if you don't declare correctly, the fine that arrives in September will be significantly larger than any tax you would have owed in the first place. 2 things to do this week. Check your NIF status on the Finances portal and update it to resident if needed. And make a list of every income source outside Portugal before you or your accountant sits down to file. Both take less than an hour. Neither is optional. If you are sitting with any of this and not feeling clear, whether it's your NIF status, your filing obligations, or a visa situation you are not sure is being handled correctly, that's exactly what the Clarity Call is for. One conversation, your specific situation, no generic answers. Stop going in circles. Link is in the description. You have 1 week, maybe less. April 25th is Liberty Day. Combined with Easter, the second half of April is effectively a dead zone for public services. Between April 15th and the 27th, consider Portugal half closed. Public employees take bridge days, offices run on skeleton staff, and anything requiring a human decision slows to a crawl. AIMA appointments, translated documents, notary visits, anything that depends on a government office being fully operational needs to happen in the first week of April, or it likely won't happen until May. This is not speculation. It happens every year. The difference in 2026 is that you're walking into this slowdown with a fee increase that just took effect, an ongoing strike in the background, and an IRS deadline that doesn't move. If your list includes anything from AIMA, Finanças, or any public registry, start it now. The most important digital update you can make this month has nothing to do with social media. It's your Chave Móvel Digital, your digital mobile key. AIMA, Finanças, and SNS all run through the same digital access layer. If yours is not active, not linked to your current phone number, or hasn't been updated since you changed devices, you will run into walls across all 3, not just health. If you moved to a new phone number and didn't update it, fix that this week. It takes less than an hour, and it unlocks every government portal that matters. One update covers all 3. On the health side specifically, April is when Portugal's system starts feeling seasonal pressure. Spring allergies drive a significant uptick in GP visits and emergency room traffic every year. If something is not a genuine emergency, use the Saúde 24 telephone line before going to a hospital. In 2026, the system prioritizes patients who went through telephone screening first. It saves you hours. April will look different from February on your budget. This is a seasonal pattern, not a crisis. But the people who get surprised are the ones who planned on February numbers and filed them under average. Fresh produce prices rise during the Easter period due to holiday demand. Transport follows the same curve. If you are planning to travel within Portugal during the holidays, expect to pay 10 to 15% more on accommodation and transport than you would in February. Fuel is the one variable worth watching separately. Prices in 2026 remain volatile, and April holiday demand amplifies that across Europe simultaneously. If you drive regularly, fill up before the Easter weekend rather than during it. None of this is dramatic, but if you are building a realistic monthly budget for Portugal, add a 10 to 15% buffer for April and revisit it in May when prices normalize. There is a notification sitting in your AIMA portal right now. You may not know it exists, and if you don't act on it, your residency clock is ticking. AIMA is no longer sending renewal notifications by email. They go exclusively through your personal area on their portal. To access it, you need an active Chave Móvel Digital linked to your current phone number. If you changed your number and didn't update it, AIMA has been trying to reach you through a door you can't open. This is not a hypothetical. Residencies are being canceled because people missed notifications they didn't know existed. Not because they broke any rules, not because their paperwork was wrong, because they changed their phone number and didn't update one digital account. Set aside 1 hour this week, log into the AIMA portal, check your personal area for any pending notifications, and confirm your Chave Móvel Digital is linked to your current number. That 1 hour could be the difference between a routine renewal and starting your entire process from scratch. In 2026, weather services are monitoring elevated flood risk in riverside areas along the Douro and the Tagus. April is the month that matters. There's a reason the Portuguese say, Abril, águas mil, April, 1,000 waters. If you rent or own property in a low-lying zone near either river, this month is the time to check 3 things: your drainage, your building's damp history, and what your rental contract or insurance actually covers when water comes in. Standard Portuguese rental agreements often don't treat water ingress as landlord liability. Your landlord is unlikely to volunteer that information. If you are still searching for a property and considering anything near a riverside zone, visit it on a day of heavy rain before you sign anything. A dry viewing in January tells you nothing about what March and April look like inside those walls. The Portuguese government has made regulated immigration a visible political priority in 2026. For most people living here or planning to move, that means one thing in practice: less room for error. Applications are being examined more carefully. Documentation requirements are being enforced more strictly. The era of getting through on incomplete paperwork and fixing it later is closing. Integration requirements are also becoming more concrete. Local councils are launching programs tied to language ability and civic knowledge. Portuguese language proficiency is increasingly the difference between a straightforward renewal and one that raises questions. None of this means Portugal is closing its doors. The country still needs foreign residents, foreign workers, and foreign investment. What it means is that the process rewards people who are prepared and penalizes people who aren't. That has always been true. In 2026, the margin for error is simply smaller. If your Portuguese is minimal and you've been meaning to address that, April is as good a time as any to start. April 2026 is not a normal month. Fees just went up, the strike isn't resolved, the IRS deadline doesn't move, and the second half of the month is effectively closed for business. The people who get through this cleanly are the ones who acted in the first week. That window is still open. Barely. If you are just starting to figure out what to do first, I put together a free relocation checklist that walks you through the whole sequence. Download it before you walk into any government office or send any payment. Link is in the description. And if you are already deep in a process, dealing with a renewal, a pending application, or a situation where you are getting conflicting answers from lawyers or accountants, that's exactly what the Clarity Call is for. One conversation, your specific situation, no generic answers. Book now. Link is in the description. If you have questions you'd rather ask directly, email me. The address is in the description, and I read everything. The era of amateur immigration in Portugal is over. But that's not bad news if you're paying attention. And if you are watching this, you clearly are. If the IRS section hit you hardest today, that video up there is the next one to watch. Click now and I'll see you there. Ciao.